Love makes me treat you the way that I do. Gee, baby, ain't I good to you? There's nothing too good for a girl that's so true. Gee, baby, ain't I good to you? Bought you a fur coat for Christmas, a diamond ring, a Cadillac car, and everything. Love makes me treat you the way that Hey peeps, welcome to another installment of Jazz History Online. So this is a short vid about, 17 minutes long or so, somewhere around there, that deals specifically with navigating around our e-learning D2L site and some of the stuff that is on there, like the detailed course calendar and letting you see how some of these things work. But also, this is something that also going to talk about our online text and navigating around that. We're going to be looking at the various sections and classes that are found in our online text, as well as navigating through a couple of the quizzes and the written assignments, as well as some very useful tools that are found on our online text. And these are all beneficial to you, but only if you use them, okay? You got to use them to make them work for you. Now, having said that, let me reiterate something to you. We are only on a 7-week semester, right? This is a short, concentrated semester. This is not a full 16-week semester. We've got a limited amount of time. Please keep this in mind, because your text is fully packed of info that you're going to have to get through. You're going to have to do these written assignments. You're going to have to do these quizzes. And remember, there's a quiz after each section. So please use your time wisely. Make use of the tools available to you. Don't just blow this off. Use it. I cannot force you to use the stuff that's available to you. I cannot make you read emails. I cannot make you, watch vids like this one. I can't make you use the tools that are on your online text. You have to assume that responsibility, folks. You have to do these assignments. We all have lives, right? We all have issues. We all have stuff that creeps up. I get that, but that does not excuse us from our work. You still have to do this stuff. Remember, I don't give makeup exams. I don't give makeup work. I don't give makeup quizzes. You lose something, you miss something, that's on you. Please, I beg of you, budget your time wisely. Use the time that's allotted to you. It's short, but it's there. You got to use it. Please, please, please. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look at navigating around e-learning and navigating our online text. Okay, folks, let's take a look at some navigation around our e-learning site and accessing and navigating around our online text. Now, many, if not all of you, may have already done this, but this is just to give you a little bit of assistance and perhaps looking at things that you may have missed. So when you first log on to e-learning, you're going to come to a page that looks like this, and under this My Courses area, you're going to see which courses you are enrolled in. In my case, it's the courses that I'm teaching this semester. So you would click on our course, Jazz History, and then you're going to be brought to our courses e-learning site home page. So one thing I wanted you to notice here, in addition to the announcements that we have up here at the top, if you scroll down to the lower right-hand corner of this home page, you're going to see a calendar, and this calendar is entitled Upcoming Events. And you'll see that each of these has an assignment or a section. If you click on these, it's going to bring you to that module. This is not, I repeat, this is not the same thing as the detailed course calendar. All this is showing you is when a module begins. Please make that distinction. This is not the detailed course calendar. The only way to access the detailed course calendar is to go through, as I have said, the Content tab. You go to the Content tab, you go to the Detailed Course Calendar module, and you'll be brought right to this wonderful little item. Now, when you look at the Detailed Course Calendar, let's understand a couple of things. It's the far right two columns that show you when things start and when they finish. So for example, our first two sections, section 1 and section 2, began on May 5th and they both end on May 24th. You'll notice that the next section begins on May 11th. That would be section 3 and section 4. And they end on May 31st. Now, let's understand a couple of things here. Most of the time, with the exception of these first two sections begin on a Sunday at 12 a.m., but all sections always end on a Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Now, I can't stress this enough, folks. Remember, this is not a typical semester, right? We only have 7 weeks, so please use your time wisely. Get through this quickly. Notice this first assignment, right? This first written assignment, written assignment number 1 is going to start. It's already started, and it's, well, it starts on the 11th, excuse me. But it's going to be due, look at that. It's going to be due on the 31st of May. You've got to get that in prior to that due date. So please use your time wisely. Okay, so that's how we access the detailed course calendar. Now, let's take a look at our online text. And how do we access that? Well, we go to the online textbook module, and there is the link. We just simply click on this link, and lo and behold, we are brought to our online text on Music Jazz. Now, the view that I have here is only going to be slightly different than the view that you are going to see. Obviously, you are not going to see instructor tools. You are not going to see a grade book, but everything else should be identical to what you will see. You'll notice that each of the sections of the course you can click on and open, and you have materials right there. So you click on the little gray arrow and it shows you. You've got an introduction. I don't care if you read the introduction or the course preamble. You can leave that up to yourself, whatever you want to do. But what I would suggest you do is compare this to the detailed course calendar. And if you keep two windows open in your browser, you can flip-flop back and forth from the detailed course calendar, again, which shows you when things begin and when they end, and what's on our online text. So this section 1, right? Fundamentals of Music, it also has an introduction. You click on the introduction and you will notice there are some tools available to you. There are short videos you can watch, discover videos, there's artist profile, keywords, all of this stuff. Now, folks, this is the same thing you would find in reading in your textbook, okay? So you're just reading online on a computer screen rather than a physical textbook. Notice you have some arrows here, these orange arrows that are in circles. You click on the right one and it takes you to the next page. Notice that always on the top of the next page, it's going to give you these same tools. Notice how you have to scroll down to see things. Now, I'm showing you something here also that will be useful to you. Notice how the examples have something called a show me activity. If you click on that, it demonstrates for you what we're talking about. In this case, we're talking about adjacent keys, which are also known as half steps. And you can click on this as many times as you like. I am going to have an introduction to the keyboard video for you to watch as well. And you're not going to need to learn how to play the piano, but it is helpful to learn about the keyboard because we're going to be referencing a lot of musical terminology that you can relate to the keyboard. So I'm just pointing this out. Great tools that you can use at your leisure. You even have a little bit of a keyboard here that you can play around with. And again, you have this little show me, which shows you exactly what we're talking about. So there you go. I would encourage you to avail yourself to these. You can also, every time you see a little circle with a speaker in it, you can click on that. And that gives you an example of what we're talking about. Here's another virtual keyboard that you can play around to your heart's content. And again, by clicking on these arrows, this is how you would navigate from page to page. At this point, I want you to understand that if you get to a place and you need to go back to the beginning, all you have to do is click on this link that's right next to the word dashboard. You click on this, and it's going to bring you right back to that beginning page. You will also notice that under each section, we have what are called classes, and notice how it's talking about what's in each class. You can click on any one of these and it's going to bring you directly to that specific area. It's going to be talking here about treble clefs and bass clefs and so forth. Now, in addition to giving you the video on keyboards that I'm going to produce for you, or that's already been produced, I'm also going to give you some PDF files that you can look at that will be very helpful to you if you wish. It is a course pack that I use for my music fundamentals students, and it contains all of this information that you're going to be looking at here too. It just goes into much greater depth than what you'll be using here. But again, you see this show me thing here, and it's drawing a staff for you. And now it's going to show you a treble clef, and you can ask it to show others. There's a bass clef. Here is an alto clef, and here is a tenor clef. So I'm going to let you play around with this to your heart's content, but just these are things that will help familiarize yourself with the terminology that we're going to be discussing in this course. Now you have some things, this can happen sometimes where you have something that doesn't load properly, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. You can also click on the word that's highlighted, and it gives you a little bit of a brief description. But if perchance you come into this area, there are some steps you can take to correct it. You can clear your browser history. You can disable cookies, things like that, and those types of things. If you cannot get it to come up for you, you can try reloading the page. Several different things can happen here. But let's try reloading the page and see what happens. So yeah, if we reload the page, we get what we're supposed to get. And it's saying we get the show me icon, so we can click on that, and it's showing us staves. It's drawing those for us. And the tool here again is a grand staff, and we're joining them to the left using something called a joining bar. There's also something we call a bracket or a brace that is used often to do that. And then you'll also have another clef, the bass clef, coming up. And this particular clef is used primarily by the piano keyboard. The bass clef uses this lower clef, and it's generally reserved for the left hand, and the treble clef, again, these are generalizations, reserved for the right hand. And most pianists see this right away, and they know exactly what it is for. Okay, so again, navigating, we'll click on that right arrow, and now we're brought to the very next section, pitch. So again, folks, this is something that I want you to do on your own. I'm just sort of giving you a brief overview of what goes on and how you can access things. Once again, if you want to go back to that very opening of the text, just click on that link right there, and that brings you right back. So you have classes. Each class has stuff that goes on, and remember, every section has a quiz, right? Let's just briefly take a look at the quiz. Notice how you have 6 attempts at the quiz. I don't think you do, but I do. So we'll preview the quiz, and it's a true and false statement. It says the function of the clef is to indicate the range of pitches to be played. That is true. You click submit, and you're brought to the next question. Now, I want you to notice here, you're given a little demonstration of how far along in the quiz you are. And if you answer incorrectly, it will tell you. It will say wrong or incorrect answer. So let's just give it a chance to do that for us. Let's say the placement of notes on the staff indicates duration. Well, I know that to be false, but I will answer true. Now let's see what happens when we hit submit. And it says wrong. And of course it is wrong. So the placement of notes on the staff does not indicate their duration. It indicates their pitch. So it tells you when you have missed. And if you want, you can just start a new preview, or I will start a new preview. That wipes the slate. See how that is? But notice also something that it does. The questions change. Okay, so again, have fun with this and understand, though, that this is assigned work. It is stuff that has to be completed. Then if you look at upcoming sections, they all also have classes, right? And as we have said, at the end of each section, you have quizzes, all right? And every section has a quiz at the end. Every section has a quiz right at the last. So whatever the last class is, right at the end. Notice how we have written assignment number 1. Now I want to click on this for a bit just to give you a little sample of what you're going to have to do. So if we click on that, we're brought to a page that looks like this. It says, Scott Joplin's Solace, A Mexican Serenade, is a very beautiful piece. It's hard to believe that the form of solace is based on a march. However, piano rags such as those by Joplin were formerly based on marches. Now, it's going to give you the option of playing this. Now, you might also notice there's a little Spotify link that you can get. If you don't have Spotify, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a music lover, but not absolutely essential. You can just simply replay it with this particular tool. Now, it's asking you some questions here. It says Solace has several sections. Listen specifically from 00 to 3.12 and address the following questions. How many sections are within this 3+ minute portion of the piece? Is there an introduction? And so forth. And then submission instructions. Get this. It says click add submission. Do you see what we're talking about here? Now, I can't do that because I'm not a student, but you will have the opportunity, and you'll have an add submission button down here where I have view submissions. And folks, I bring this up for a couple of reasons. If you are using your phone, like an iPhone or a smartphone, to do your homework, don't forget to scroll all the way down. Many people forget to go all the way to the bottom of the page and they miss where the submission button is. I don't recommend using a phone or a tablet for something like this, but if that's all you have to work with, go for it. Might take you a little bit longer than if you had an actual computer to do it, but we all have to do the best we can. Okay, so we're going to go back to that main page, and again, we're just taking a look here at these sections and classes. Every single section has them. Every single section ends with a quiz. Just don't forget that. And then, of course, we also have things like the midterm exam and the final exam. And you'll see when those come due. And you might also note that the sections up until this production of this video did not have due dates. They will now, so you will need to observe those. You won't be able to open a section until its start date. And no one should have to worry about that, though, right now. Okay, so hopefully this has given you an idea of how to navigate around our e-learning site, but also how to access our online text and to navigate a little around our online text. Watch for those upcoming videos. There will also be a couple of lecture videos that will help you understand the process or the artist and style of jazz that we're going to be looking at. Okay, here we go. Okay, so hopefully you found all of that helpful. As always, if you have questions, shoot me an email. You may have noticed that there's a little bit of a lag time with responding to emails. We've had power failures, things like that go on. So I do my best. I try to respond to you within 24 to 48 hours, if at all possible. The only exception to that rule, remember, is I do not respond to emails on the weekends. Okay? I've enjoyed reading your introductions. They've been great. I look forward to reading our other discussions. I might make mention here, you've noticed that we have a Let's Discuss component of our online text. That is different than the discussion topics on our online text, than our e-learning site. So yes, those are assignments. Those are things that you need to do, and you'll find that they're very, very useful. They can you can find out find answers to questions that you may have on your with respect to the material on the online text. Also, I'm going to be producing a couple of other vids for you to watch with respect to some of the things that you're being asked to learn, such as the fundamentals of music. Watch out for those. Those are simple links. They're very short. You should be able to get through these without any trouble whatsoever, but it's just stuff to help you, okay? I cannot stress this enough. I cannot open your head and pour the knowledge in. You have to do it. This is why you took an online course, so that you wouldn't have someone like me breathing down your neck every 5 minutes. You got to do this on your own, okay? Again, I say, I realize stuff comes up, but that does not excuse you from your work. You've got to do the assignments. You've got to do the work. So please use your time wisely. All right, folks, I look forward to our next discussion topic, and we'll see you soon. I'm a sentimental sap, that's all. What's the use of trying not to fall? I have no will, you've made your kill, 'cause you took advantage of me. I'm just like an apple on a bough, and you're gonna shake me down somehow. So what's the use? You've cooked my goose, 'cause you took advantage of me. I'm so hot and bothered that I don't know my